business in the front, party in the back, and fitness all over. Justin Medeiros is the fittest man on earth.
Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of Game Central. Sean Woodland and Tommy Marquez recapping the men's side of the competition at the 2021 NOBULL CrossFit Games. And when it comes to the individuals, more drama and excitement than we have seen in a while, especially at the top of the overall leaderboard.
Yeah, and I think coming into the weekend, we had all hoped that the power vacuum at the top would instill some new drama and a different kind of excitement than in years past. And going into the final day, all three podium spots were up for grabs. And with that in mind, it certainly delivered.
Now, here is the final leaderboard after 15 events for the individuals, and it's Justin Medeiros claiming the title of fittest on earth by 82 points over Pat Vellner. Brent Fikowski was 24 points back of Vellner for third, and Björgvin Carl Gudmundsson was 8 points separated from Scott Panchik. Justin Medeiros won just one event at the CrossFit Games this year, but he averaged a 6th place finish in order to win the title of fittest on earth, and he is now the youngest champion in Games history, and he looks poised to become the next dominant male athlete.
Yeah, and say what you want, Sean, about the superlatives of his weekend. He is the youngest male champion ever. He had 13 top 10 finishes. He had 7 top 5 finishes. But the bigger picture, the reality of this last weekend is this was actually his first true Games experience, the first full one with fans in the stands, a full field of athletes to compete alongside shoulder to shoulder, and all the nuances that go into competing on a full Games week. And taking another step back, that means that this was version of Justin Medeiros 1.0. That means 2.0, maybe 3.0 and 4.0 are coming, and I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Right behind him, Pat Vellner finishes in second overall, his 4th career podium finish, but Pat just cannot keep from digging himself an early hole.
As if we needed another reason to know why Pat Vellner, in all honesty, is one of the most resilient athletes that we've seen at the CrossFit Games. You know, this is the 3rd time that he's had to battle back from an opening event finish of 35th place or lower. All 4 of his podium finishes, he's had a finish of 35th or lower as well. But more importantly, I look at how he bounced back. You know, the most you can ask for coming down the stretch is to line up and beat the guy next to you that you're chasing. From events 9 to events 14, when the crucial kind of run came from Pat Vellner, he beat Justin in 5 out of 6 events. Didn't get a ton of help from the rest of the field, but at least he did his job.
Brent Fikowski takes 3rd, and we have become accustomed to seeing Brent, hit some home runs at the CrossFit Games. But there was something that he added to his game this year.
Yeah, and his mindset and his demeanor was slightly different, even compared to years past where Brent has excelled in live CrossFit competition. Now, clearly something was hurt with him. You could see his leg taped up all weekend after the sprint, but he also wore the white leaders jersey for a 3rd of the competition. And I think this new version of Brent Fikowski all came down to event number 9, the light snatch barbell and the Echo bike. Old Brent Fikowski would play it calm, collected, maybe get a top 10 finish. This new Brent, full throttle, just go, throw caution to the wind, walks away with an event win, and I think that's what he's been working on the last 2 years.
Scott Panchik going into the Games was a name that we heard a lot about being in the mix for the podium, the first time he would ever finish on the podium in his career. Unfortunately, he had to compete with a knee issue. Still finishes 11th overall and has a great send-off and gets the Spirit of the Games award.
I mean, he is one of the all-time greats, undoubtedly. You look at the full arc of his career, 9 career appearances at the CrossFit Games, 9 finishes of 11th or better. Across his career, an average finish of 6th overall at the CrossFit Games. That is just phenomenal. This year was a representation of his true character, I believe. Basically on one knee, he can't run or sprint, can hardly jump. He notches 2 event wins, making pushes where it counts. That handstand walk event where he crosses the finish line and almost the entire crowd rose with him and he just put his hands in celebration. I mean, that's the send-off that he deserved, and to me, that's one of the moments and reasons why he's one of the best in the sport.
Yeah, he definitely gave us a lot of memorable moments at the CrossFit Games this past year, and he will be missed, and congratulations to Scott Panchik on a great career. As far as the age groups are concerned, it's Nate Ackermann who wins the 16 to 17-year-old division for the boys, and we had some international flavor at the top of some of these leaderboards. Maxime Goyon from France, who wins the 40 to 44-year-old division. Bernard Lucci from Italy wins the 50 to 54-year-old division, but in that 35 to 39 39-year-old division that is loaded with prior individual games athletes. It's Kyle Kasperbauer who comes out on top.
Kyle Kasperbauer is one of the most criminally underrated athletes in CrossFit Games history. And you look at his full resume, first athlete to podium as an individual, on a team, and as a Masters athlete. He's the first ever 35 to 39 division winner in CrossFit Games history. He's won it 3 times. This year was the most competitive we've seen of the division, and he won it as the oldest athlete in the field. He's gonna age up next year. Man, look out, 44 to 44 division. And then you go down to the teenage athletes, and you look at what Nate Ackermann did. He wins, but he doesn't win a single event. He has 6 second place finishes and 2 third place finishes. And I think that's actually important for a young developing athlete. I would much rather see a steady performance across the entirety of the test rather than an event win and a 10, a second, an 8. I think for an athlete that's trying to break through, because we haven't seen the young men do as well, that's a good base to build off of.
Also, the first year that we had the adaptive divisions at the CrossFit Games, there were 3 each for the men and the women. We had upper extremity, lower extremity, and neuromuscular, and it was Casey Acree who won the upper extremity division for the men.
Yeah, I think Casey Acree and that entire upper extremity division did wonders as far as a jumping off point for the adaptive divisions in the eyes of the broader community. Now, Acree dominated. He had 6 event wins and 1 third place finish. It was nearly perfect throughout the weekend. But the rest of the division gave him a push, and that one event that he took a third was the deadlift event. And we saw multiple athletes ahead of Acree deadlift over 500 pounds. If we're talking about building a broader base for the adaptive divisions in the sport going forward, that was the moment I think everyone realized this is not a showcase, this is a competition, and we're going to see more of it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch that division grow. We mentioned Scott Panchik and the memorable moments that he provided, especially the goodbye with his daughter after his last event. That was very special to watch. But what was the one event from the men's competition that stood out the most to you?
For me, it has to be the moment Justin Medeiros crossed the finish line to win the CrossFit Games. And I think that moment in general encapsulates everything that's good about the sport and the CrossFit community. Here you have a young man realizing his dream after so many years of near misses, trying to qualify. And who does he see waiting for him at the finish line but the two people that are responsible for his place on this planet in the first place, but also who have supported him along the way, and it's his parents. And the way they got there, Sean, 2 people that had the best seats in the house went and sought out his parents, found them, said, please take our seats, go enjoy that moment. Just the goodwill and kindness of the community shone through there, and we got to see a special moment for an athlete at his peak. It gave me goosebumps, and it still does right now.
Yeah, the CrossFit community they really stepped up in the NOBULL CrossFit Games this past year. And then you think about the fans running with Scott Panchik was another great moment.
Amazing.
But kudos to the community, and kudos to the 2 people who allowed the Medeiros family to be right there to watch Justin finish. That is going to do it for this edition of Game Central. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Keep in mind that the Miles to Madison series continues on August 16th with episode number 2. So be sure to keep an eye out on the CrossFit Games YouTube channel for that. For Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland, and we will see you next time.